Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. If you're looking for PTCGO codes, including the new Rebel Clash stuff, make sure you go ahead and check out the Potown store. You can get a 5% discount on your orders using that code OmniPoke. For today's video, we are looking at a favourite of mine, and it's going to be PikaRom. It's an updated build of Rebel Clash. We have some great new additions, Speed Lightning Energy to help your full blitz odds, Boss's Orders for better gusting, and Boltund V, a really interesting V card that can be decent in the early game just for setup in general, but can also become a late game bomb. So let's jump into the list and talk about the main decisions here. The core of PikaRom remains still relatively unchanged. It's still pretty much a nice pace setter in the format. I think one thing it does quite enjoy is the fact that there's a number of decks that are going from Vs into V maxes now. So there's things sitting around that 210 hit point kind of range. And if you can aggressively get a full blitz with a couple E-powers, you can just completely storm the board early on. So I think PikaRom, in terms of meta position, isn't really too challenged by much in the format. Like there's Phalanx and there's Sandaconda, but I don't believe them to be top tier contenders. And its tempo is still just really good for pace setting in the game, and Speed Lightning Energy in particular just helping give you better odds towards early game full blitzes is just another like kind of tick in its favor for PikaRom. So let's jump into the archetype in a bit more detail now. Like I said, relatively unchanged in the overall shell. We're still playing 2 copies of our main attacker PikaRom. Full Blitz is really like what gets everything going in the deck because we have a lot of expensive attackers going on here. Full Blitz itself is pretty expensive, but we have plenty of ways to cheat that energy via Thunder Mountain Prism Star as well as Tapu Koko Prism, which we'll get onto in a moment. But this Full Blitz really does kick the game off quite nicely, doing 150, and you're then able to search your deck for 3 Lightning Energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon, which is really excellent. You can shove it all onto the active if you want to go all in, if you're expecting your opponent not to have an answer to you, to try and get a full value Tag Bolt, or we can try and power up some of our other attackers that we have that I'll get onto in a moment. This Tag Bolt GX attack does 200 as a vanilla baseline for 3 attachments. Again, pretty reasonable for sure, especially with that Electro power being involved. Sometimes you can even be knocking out V Pokemon like Zacian and things like Dragapult, etc. So sometimes it's correct, like rather than going for the turn 1 full blitz, sometimes turn 1 Tag Bolt can just be really, really strong in this format at dealing with a V Pokemon quite quickly, especially if you're removing energies at the same time. So that can be an excellent option for the 3 attachments. But when you get 6, it really is bonkers. You get an additional 170 bench snipe. This is great for dealing with Dedenne-GXs, as well as like 1 prizers or things that you've hit previously. Potentially full blitz, then gust, and then you can knock out multiple things at once. This can easily take 4 or 5 prizes in a turn, and it really does put your opponent on a very big clock. So this Tag Bolt GX is still a big threat in the game. Mew is like somewhat of an option in decks right now, but even then, we have Boss's Orders that can take out Mews, so it's not necessarily the end of the world if you can't do that. Also, we have another great GX attack option available in this list. This Raichu is slightly more tanky than the PikaRom. It has 260 base hit points. Both of these, the Raichu and the PikaRom, have a metal resist as well, which I should mention because it's super relevant when Zacian's still one of the most important attackers in the game right now. We have Big Charms in here as well, so normally these can actually take hits even post ADP GX attack, which is awesome. The Tandem Shock for 2 Lightning and a Colorless does 80, and 80 more if it became your new active Pokemon in this turn. Not only did you get the nice damage buff, but also you paralyze the opponent's active. This can be a great late game sort of panic option when you have Reset Stamp, try and paralyze, make it hard for your opponent to find switch outs, as well as like gust pieces or attachments and all that other stuff. So it can be a nice way back into the game, giving you some good comeback potential with this list, which is pretty cool. And is just decent base output as well. That 160, obviously good enough for you to just gust up with a boss to close out the game for 3 energy. That's not bad at all. And then we have the Lightning Ride GX attack. Like I said, if you're not looking to Tag Bolt, or if it's just not on for you, sometimes you can put down the Raichu instead. And Lightning Ride GX does 150 for 3 energy attachments, and you switch to the bench, which is nice. You can try and push forward a 2-prizer to skew the race, or even a 1-prizer like the Jirachis that we're playing in here, to make life more awkward for the opponent. Lean into the reset stamps that we are playing in here alongside Volkner to search them out. It can be pretty nice to skew that option and force your opponent to find extra pieces, especially in the late game, which is great. Not only that, but if we do get to 5 attachments on this, the Lightning Ride damage output then goes up to 250. So 1 E-Power and you're knocking out tag teams quite happily, and a bunch of E-Powers can help you scale even further. It's hard to protect them when you're playing Professor's Research builds, but it's something that can be possible. So yeah, that Lightning Ride is certainly a threatening option in here. We play a couple 2 prizes as well. The Zeraora-GX with that Thunderclap Zone ability is pretty important, giving our Pokemon with Lightning Energy attached no retreat cost. This actually helps our combo, trying to get the full blitz on turn 1, ideally, if we are going second. It's a lot easier to try and get it turn 2 when you go first. It's relatively routine as long as there's not like crushing hammers involved or some really ugly hands. But the Zeraora actually makes it a lot more consistent because you can manually attach for turn onto things that aren't PikaRom and still energy switch and retreat around. So you have switch outs in here and you have energy switch outs. So the Thunderclap Zone makes life a lot easier for you in the initial turns. Not only that, but it's good like in the mid game, of course, because you have a high retreat cost on your tag teams a lot of the time, moving between them, especially when you full blitzed onto something on the bench. You can then go into that new attacker and cause problems for the opponent. So this Zeraora is excellent. It also comes with a couple of attacks, 160 on the Plasma Fists, again, enough to deal with Dedennes and such if you have to. If you're trying to make that prize race more difficult for the opponent, making them go through a tag team, then a 2-prizer, then another tag team, it can put in a shift. Also that full voltage GX attack can reload a bunch of energy cards if you are up against a denial-based approach, so something to bear in mind. The new V Pokemon that we have that's kicked out Tapu Koko V is going to be this new Boltund V. I think this outclasses Koko in most situations because I think it's better in the early turns to have the Electrify option, and I think the late game sweep option of Bolt Storm can be huge against decks that aren't one-shotting you. And I think Dragapult is a reasonable threat in this format, so having this Bolt Storm available seems very, very strong for me. It's a 200 hit point 2-prizer, which is just decent in general. This Electrify attack allows you to search your deck for 2 Lightning and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way that you like. Now, normally PikaRom, given the chance to attack, will go for the full blitz or bust. But there are certain situations where your hand just isn't going to get you there, and falling back on Electrify can be a really good option for you. So it just makes sure that you can get that at least turn 2 full blitz and still be in the game. So I really like having that option available. Also the Bolt Storm, like I said, it has a vanilla of 70 because you do 30 more for each Lightning attached to all of your guys. So it self-includes, which means you're doing a vanilla 70 really, with just the 2 attachments to power up the Bolt Storm on the Boltund itself. But if you've been full blitzing around the board for a couple turns, nothing's been knocked out, you can try and power up that Bolt Storm and it's, you know, hitting silly numbers. So it really punishes people that are trying to not take one-shots against you, which is just very, very good, seeing as though there's a couple decks in the format right now that can't reach on these sorts of hit points, especially with Big Charms involved. So he can become a nice late-game powerhouse, really. From there, we've got 3 Dedenne-GX, the sort of setup Pokemon that are normally seen here, but do bear in mind, we have a couple attacks that we can use in panic situations, and you even have E-Powers to help scale these, so nothing to sleep on. We've got the new Eldegoss V with that Happy Match ability. When you put this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may put a supporter from your discard pile immediately into your hand. We don't have the board space or really enough Bull Search to make an Oranguru Mewtwo scoop up net kind of thing work in here. So just playing the 1 copy of Eldegoss has closed out a lot of games for me, to be honest. Just making sure that you can like Stellar Wish towards Quick Ball or whatever to close out games has been excellent. So I really like having the Eldegoss in here. Oftentimes it just like grabs you game immediately off of Quick Balls, be it through like researching to grab a bunch of E-Powers, Boss's Orders to gust things up, all of that good stuff. So the Eldegoss V really has been a nice way to close out games, which is just really good for you, giving yourself more outs. The Tapu Koko Prism Star, obviously a big part of the combo. You know what it does at this point. Dance of the Ancients throws itself into the Lost Zone in order to get 2 Lightning Energy from your discard pile and put them onto 2 of your Pokemon. Obviously, you can do it with just 1 attachment at times. That's why you're seeing such a high physical count of energies in this list, because you still want to have discard synergy with your Radars and Quick Balls and, you know, Dedennes and stuff, to be able to throw a bunch of basic Lightning into the bin and also have enough to manually attach and do all that good stuff. So the Koko is still an integral piece for this deck, really. Finally, for Pokemon, we're just playing the 2 copies of Stellar Wish Jirachi. I'm not leaning into Jirachi a huge amount. I'm not even playing any copies of a skateboard, you may notice I'm just playing switches here. But at the end of the day, it's a nice option to have. You can put it on board, kind of semi-stamp proof yourself at times, which is pretty nice. And it's another option that you can use with that Lightning Ride GX attack that I've mentioned a couple times to skew that prize race. So something that I think is worth having in the list, but not something I've lent into too much. But you could try and push for a higher Jirachi count. I've seen all sorts of different lists. I've seen 0 Jirachi, I've seen as many as like 3 or 4. So that's kind of like usually the most contentious part of PikaRom. It's like, how many Jirachis are you actually trying to lean into? Right now, I'm just going for a couple copies, trying to weave in some other stuff, but this is kind of flexible, the Jirachi spaces. If you want to add in a 3rd copy and then a skateboard or 2, that's absolutely fine. Something to bear in mind. Onto the trainers now. We do have a couple one-offs, but don't forget we have a high Volkner count to try and scout these at the right moments. So Stadium Nav is a great way to access your Thunder Mountain, flipping a couple coins, of course, but hopefully luck's on your side. I am still playing a Great Catcher because there's still a lot of Dedenne-GX in the format. There's still a decent chunk of tag teams that you can try and capitalize on, and that's obviously vulnerable as well. So if you're missing out on the boss, you can still dig and try and hit a Great Catcher as well, which is pretty nice. Couple 2-ofs as well, the Reset Stamp for hand disruption on the opponent's end, especially in the late game. Couple copies of E-Switch, similar to the Jirachi really. This can sometimes be up to like a 3 or 4 count if you are trying to go full turbo. Right now I'm just at 2 copies. I've also thought about Tag Switch in here. One big benefit of Tag Switch actually in the new format is that Tag Switch can also work on special energy cards. PikaRom hasn't really had to worry about that until now, but Speed Lightning Energy is obviously not transferable with E-Switch, but it could be used with Tag Switch, so something to bear in mind. Right now I'm just at the couple copies of Energy Switch. It works off the Zeraora a little bit more nicely a lot of the time, so that's why we're going for that. Then we have 3 of Radar as well as 4 of Quick Ball for our Ball Search. We've got the E-Powers, of course, mandatory for just damage modifying, as well as 4 copies of Switch. You'll notice I'm not playing a skateboard. One of the reasons is I'm playing Galar Mine as a stadium. There's obviously anti-synergy for me playing a skateboard and a mine, so I've decided to cut the skateboard and play a Galar Mine in my list, trying to deny other Jirachi-based builds. There's a lot of welded X out there, and there's just a lot of people trying to make use out of Stellar Wish in general, basically, so trying to slow that down is nice. There's also a handful of decks playing Shrine right now. ADP-zation can sometimes play a couple copies. Dragapult can play a couple copies, so making sure that I have more than one stadium in the list has been important for me. And when you're playing Zeraora for Switch and no like reduction tools, Galar Mine actually like never hurts you. There's no reason why this is ever a problem for you. So we're just going to play 1 copy of that as to try and complement the Thunder Mountain, just to have more stadium removal in the list. I've thought about this, I've thought about Viridian, but we're already playing Volkner's and 14 energy, so I don't think Viridian was that mandatory. You could also consider Swell, but I feel Swell kind of has a mini anti-synergy with the Thunder Mountain. Plus, pretty much no one's playing Lysander Labs now that Tool Scrapper's a card. So yeah, the Labs feels worse just because Scrapper is the option people will go for now if they want to remove Big Charms. And previously, Swell Charm was like a nice counter to Labs. Now people can just scrap the Big Charms straight away, so there's a lot less validity in having the Labs in here. So we've gone Galar Mine. Thunder Mountain, of course, is the primary stadium. It's a great way to get that early game full blitz, so it's a key piece here. Couple copies of the new boss's orders for Gusting, in addition to Eldegoss and the Great Catcher. I feel like we have a little bit more options than previously, when normally you were just trying to get custom catcher combos and the Great Catcher. Sometimes they were just coin flip Gust in PikaRom. There's been many different iterations. So having a bit of extra Gust, especially against like control decks where normally you just kind of flopped against them because you didn't have enough Gust. Now you can like tempo boss like a good amount and deal with their Zacians. By knocking out Zacians, you basically force them to put more Zacians into play because they just don't draw enough cards to disrupt you or draw into like their next few Bell Elbers and stuff. So I found these boss's orders and Eldegoss really does help out in that matchup in particular for actually getting over the line, whereas previously I thought it was pretty awkward for the PikaRom player overall. We got the full prof research. Now I've debated between this and Cynthia a bit. Because I am concerned about how important Electro Power is in the list right now for damage mods, especially against like VMAXs. You kind of need to play like 3 in a turn if you want to pop off on them. Otherwise, you're most of the time looking for like 2-shot plays. But overall, I wanted to have extra discard synergy with lightning energies. That's just how it is. Especially because, you know, previous PikaRoms played like 12 or 11 basic lightning. And with that 10 count, it's still pretty high, but you just want to have more lightning energy thrown into the bin as quickly as you can. So yeah, we're going for the researchers right now. It's also just an extra card to hit your combo at the end of the day. And we are playing those Volkners to cherry pick pieces, getting that nav, getting the switch outs, getting the E-switches, E-powers, all that stuff's very good for you. Obviously late game stamps, yeah, just overall Volkner's insane. We are still playing Big Charm. Obviously I'm expecting ADPization to still be a decent contender here. And even against things like Dragapult and stuff, putting things a little bit out of range, like if they're trying to set up Dedennes and all that stuff, you can try and Big Charm those guys to put them a little bit out of range of Gust, etc. So that can sometimes be great for you. We are playing 14 energy in the New Age PikaRom, and I've been loving it, to be honest. The Speed Lightning energy is too good to not play maximum counts of, because it just says draw 2 cards in an energy attachment. When you're a combo deck, that is an absolute dream. It's insane. So we're playing 4 copies of this card because whenever you draw it, you're just ecstatic. And then we're playing 10 basic lightning energy so that I have plenty to play with and dump off early. If you do just want to go down to that 9 count, it's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. You can try and work in 3rd E-switch, tag switch, 4th radar I've thought about quite a lot. That tool for the Jirachi / a 3rd Jirachi. Those are all cards that I think are super, super reasonable. Or if you want to still play your Koko V or any other tech attacker, you can certainly go for that. Right now, this is a pretty like cookie cutter vanilla list. Not too much excitement going on here. But yeah, it's how I've been enjoying my PikaRom. Oh, also, I've thought about as well Malolana. Malolana / you know the super spicy tech? Hyper Potion. You know, this did like nothing in the previous format and like for good reason, but aggro full blitzing to your PikaRom is so good against Dragapult that if you aggro full blitz, then they hit into you, then you Volkner for Hyper Potion off your PikaRom and just full blitz with 1 E-power through their VMAX, and then you go back onto your PikaRom the second time. Man, that's such an insane board state against Dragapult specifically. So if you want to have a better Dragapult matchup, the Hyper Potion 1 of tech is the spice that I'm not playing, but could be playing, and want you to know about, I guess. It's fun. It's fun. It's good against Pult, at least. In those very specific situations. But you can literally checkmate Dragapult with that 1 card, basically, as PikaRom. So if you've struggled against Dragapult as Pika, give that a whirl. It's pretty rad. It's pretty much useless in every other situation. Maybe it's okay in Mirror, but usually not great. Alright, we are going first. So we have the chill time of trying to get the turn 2 blitz. And that should not be a huge problem for us. So Icy Brown, you don't like to see fighting. That is not ideal. We'll start off by becoming speed itself by attaching energy and drawing 2 cards for free. We get a radar and a quick ball. Now, do I want to toss any of this stuff away? I want a radar, that's for sure. We want to toss the lightning always, and I think I toss the boss's orders here, and we have a scout of what's going on. You always want to check your prizes with PikaRom because there are prisms galore that are all super important. Not only are the prisms important, also sometimes things like the Stadium Nav is important to check out. How many physical energy you have to blitz onto your stuff as well is big. So let's have a quick look at what's going on here. I always want to take Zeraora here, I think, because I'll be pivoting into that. I could pivot into Jirachi with the quick ball, or I could just quick ball out the Koko immediately. I'm pretty sure we're doing this, and then I'm just quick balling Koko. Let's grab this. Let's do this. We're going to proactively retreat, so next turn I can Koko, attach, switch. Full blitz is there for us, so we'll pass it there for now. I'm going to kind of greedily keep this Koko, because if I can get the full value, it's an extra energy, so that's fine. And I'm not expecting even a fighting deck to be able to like deal with this in a turn. We'll get a bit more information of what we are up against with this quick ball. Now it could be Phalanx. Yeah, it's going to be Phalanx that we're up against. Phalanx. I don't know what it is, but yeah. The lads. We'll just call them the lads for now. I'm pretty sure that Phalanx is not really the best archetype in the game that you could be playing. But it certainly can capitalize on the PikaRom, that's for sure. It's a 30 modifier for each of the gang that you have into play, so... They are going to fire off a Cynthia now that they've got the twin energy down. And basically they just try and fill their board completely with the lads. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm just calling it the lads every time. Hope that's okay. We're actually switching and calling for Fam to get a couple of the Phalanx down. Directly to the bench. So they're probably going to grab one of the Vs and one of the attackers. Oh, just double V. Okay. So every time there's a V in play, your other Phalanx take 20 less. So this effectively is a 130 hit point Pokemon right now because there are 2 Phalanx Vs. So we will start off with the speed energy. And I'm going to Koko. To PikaRom. We're going to switch. So full blitz is achieved. We already have the knockout. Now, do I want to go for research or Dedenne? By not putting down a regular guy, he's a little bit at risk of attacking us next turn, but let's see how much he's doing next turn. So it's 3, 6, 9, 12. So he needs a lot to be able to... I really want to find a Big Charm to just make him find an extra Phalanx, really. Oh no, because he's doing 3, 6, 7, 8, 12. Yeah, okay. I'm going to research this, I think. Like, I could push with Dedenne, but when I'm throwing away 2 other supporters, it's not that likely that I draw into another supporter. And, like, that's exactly what's happened here. So, do I want to put down any other 3 prizes? Not particularly. Not yet, anyways. Especially when their tankiest guys at the moment are like 200 hit points. They don't have resistance, fortunately. Let's put this down. So, we still have a decent number of energies left in the deck. We did miss the Big Charm. How much do I want to play towards it? I don't think it's super important. Let's just blitz. I'm going to the 2-prizer. The Zeraora. I think I eventually will be forced to put down the Choo-Choo, but just not yet. So we do see an Erika's from them, as well as a Dojo. I see a bike. If there is any good news in all this, it's that they don't really have any draw Pokemon in their list to actually get things rolling, so they're kind of just trying to use items and supporters to get everything they want, which isn't always easy. There's the energy to Phalanx. Quick balling. They're going to get more Vs to make themselves tankier. Yes, they are. Ooh, interesting. Boss's orders on the Phalanx. I'm interested. They have a 3-card hand. This guy's being reduced by 60 right now, so it's exactly full blitz knockout. I don't see a much better play. Especially when they have a 3-card hand. Just make them find more stuff, you know. Definitely want to attach to this Boltund now as well. I just got to think if I want to commit more to this full blitz and have the 3-prizer potentially up in the active. Or do I just want to put down the Choo-Choo and have the option of Lightning Ride here? There is risks to this for sure. It also kind of board locks me. But I guess I just always attack with Boltund next turn anyways if I do it like this. Okay. So with the reduction, we've completely thinned our deck of lightnings, which is nice. It's only a second prize, but I'm hoping that they're just like bad draws are gonna see us through here. This is attached passing. I think we're pretty good here. So we can freely retreat and just go for a Bolt Storm. Don't need to do anything else. So that was 280, even after the reduction. That's a big chunk of damage. 11 energies in play. Not bad, not bad. Okay. So if Phalanx can get 6-0'd by PikaRom, probably shouldn't be a deck, right? Probably shouldn't be a deck that exists. Oh, we're against Puka. He's been on the ladder a lot lately. I faced him yesterday as well. We're going second, and our hand is looking pretty juicy. We have Radar and Nav starting a Jirachi. Pretty exciting stuff. I'd love to top deck a basic Lightning Energy. That would be my favorite draw. We're going to see Stellar-Wish for a Scoop Up Net. And we'll see what else is going on here. Oh, he's having to bench Mind Report Mewtwo just to not be benched. Or to give himself another Stellar Wish. Yep. He really needs a Stellar Wish. Spending his attachment as well. Pretty good for us. Pays off though, he can get the treasure for the Dragapult early. Another Psychic goes to the bin. There is the Dragapult V. So no early attachment on the Dragapult is great for us. We actually hit a Speed Lightning, which is like pretty close to what we were hoping for. We'll start off with this. We're gonna grab these guys. Our Koko is here, our Mountain is here. Our other E-Switch is in the deck, which is nice, just in case I need to daily change this. Zeraora is here, Boltund is here, our other two E-Powers. Only one boss. Eldegoss also in the prizes. Not as much Gust as I would like, but otherwise pretty chill. So we will nav before the speed. I'll only take one stadium here because we want to keep the potential bounce to Shrine. We're going to find Lightning Energies. Still missing, unfortunately. We will do this stuff. Doesn't make sense to do any switching stuff yet. Okay, we're there. Nice. I have only E-powered once, I believe, right? I need to see how many E-powers I've played. I drew Speed Lightning Energy. I played Stadium Nav. So I've only played one E-power, right? Okay. So I don't want a boss. Now I want to boss. Koko, Mountain, boss. Pretty insane. And it's all going to the front. Just PikaRom things, I guess. Really stifles his options to use the Dedenne. Unless they have Mew. Just gonna see the regular Bolt here. I see a boss's orders from him. Trying to slow us down. Gotta appreciate it. He's not gonna like this. Disgusting. I'm gonna have to message him after this. Huh. Oh. Okay. Well, sometimes you just PikaRom. Seems good. Seems good to me. Whew. That was nuts. That was just not fair. Jeez, let's have one more game. And we're up against Jake LeBassage. This is going to be the best video ever. Let's go. Jay's also been playing a bunch on ladder recently. I face him like all the time before the Limitless tournaments. I think he's been practicing for them a lot. And now it's new format, he's got to test all over again. Ooh, worse hand this time, that's for sure. Going second. Playing control of some sort. Mag control? Cargo control? Possibly. That possible has become much more possible. Okay. Yeah, let's pass. Interesting. He's drawing bad too, huh? Now, I can radar attach to a PikaRom, Pay, retreat, dance, try and find switches and Dedennes and stuff, but that involves drawing a lot of cards. I'm kind of not interested in drawing cards right now. I am interested in this sort of tempo, though. I'm not going to play the boss this turn, even though it can knock out a slug. I'd rather get around the doll. Okay, they have quick ball for Zacian. They're going to start motoring through. So I'm kind of obliged to start playing cards as well now. More slugs coming down. Pretty heads up play from him, to be honest, because he knows I want to boss around this. Remember, we can no shuffle draw as PikaRom, so whenever you dig with PikaRom, the cards are just gone forever. So this is why you're seeing me play a lot slower than potentially a lot of other people would have gone. If you just start Dedenne changing and dumping and all that stuff, you're gonna end up in a bad spot. So I guess Jay's here. He's debating whether or not to do the doll stuff and Mareep sleep us. It's kind of a weird spot, right? Because we don't actually care too much about the Koko, but it is the only threatening card I have right now. He is gonna smooth over. Wisdom to grab that card immediately. Another doll. Okay. So yeah, it looks like he's gonna doll Mareep, retreat back into the other doll. Yeah. The most defensive play possible makes sense. Oh, I'm so busted at this game. Other bosses here. Eldegoss is in the deck as well. Could have benched Zeraora, especially because my cargo list can play Stamp, but I don't think he stamps me yet, right? I'm not really drawn enough cards for it to be worth it. So he can grab double Belelba here, he can smooth Guru and start going for Surge Belelbas. It depends how much he needs to build his hand. You're gonna see Great Ball for Monkey. See the Sinlin. Grab that Lucamine. smooth over. Could just be for a doll, could just be for other stuff. Yep, gonna see a doll. Double down in dolls. Sleep into sword seems good. We have high rolled him so badly. Jeez, that is it feels bad in a way, you know. Well, I guess I'm hitting them. It may have been a small problem that I got rid of the second energy thinking I will dance, but I may not be dancing at all this entire game, to be honest. I think I might be just floating between these two attackers. We'll have to see. Jay hasn't gone for any hand disruption at all yet. I mean, like, Belelba, I should say. Deck disruption. Now might start to be the time. His hand size is, like, pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I can see one Belelba here. Didn't hit a boss or an Eldegoss, so that's a win for us right now. We're happy with it. We'll take it. There's doll number 4. And just the Intrepid. You're joking me. This is insane. This is so dumb. What? It's just not on. It's just rude at this point. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards. Alright, let's throw this his way, I guess. Stupid. Stupid. We've 25%ed him 3 times. There's a Bryson. Ooh, hit Galar Mine, which kind of hurts. I'd like these 25% to be 50-50s, but instead we'll just high roll him more. Okay, I think we definitely take the Eldegoss here with the quick ball. Gotta protect that dude. He's a good dude. I like him. He's a chill guy. This might bait a stamp from him. I say bait, I mean a stamp's good here for him, but just gotta think if I want to play anything. I guess I want to play that against the stamp. Do I want to play the energy switch against stamp as well? E-switch is quite good against stamp. Let's think about it. I'm interested. Yeah. Let's do that. I'm assuming there's going to be hand disruption. As soon as I've protected an Eldegoss and he knows he wants that to be gone, not something he wants to deal with. So we will see the smooth There's also a Mew currently in his discard. Doesn't see the Bellelba. So choosing not to stamp us. Possibly not playing stamp. One, two. Don't see a much better time to play this. How many switches do I have left? All of my switches. 22 cards left. I think next turn I make the push when I have an extra card in hand. Next turn I can triple E power, Eldegoss for boss, Dedenne change, and try and hit a switch where we have still all four. And then I can full blitz knock out Zeraora. Zacian, I should say. Or on the off chance that I double heads, I can just do it without Dedenne changing, which would be insane. I played the stamp on the turn that full Bellelba was gone, so they had to either Lusamine or like Pal Pad or something, so we have a turn off getting milled, which is nice. We'll take it. Like an ordinary rod, no doubt getting back energy, Mew, Mewtwo as well. Yep. They are going to quick ball. Going to grab that Mew, definitely makes sense. And Intrepid. How many quick balls are played? 3 quick balls, 2 comms, and a great. Energy is not actually a good top deck for us. Do I Gust Mew now, though? Or am I just gonna try and... I could just, like, Tag Bolt this guy. Okay, I do want to make slightly more of a push, though, now. Because, like, the odds are in our favor when we have this many switches left in the deck. This makes sense, really. So I think I want the energy here, so I can always play switch. I mean, I can switch on everything, right? Maybe I just threaten this. Because there's the Koko Prism as well. Interesting. Alright, we draw a good number of switches. So 14 cards left in our deck. That's really the only concern, because I have to still get through him in a number of attacks. Didn't draw into out of the boss, which would have been like the uber nuts, but we still have a lot of switches to play. We know they have double Bellelba in hand. Surge in the bin currently. They have the Mewtwo combo set up. The Eldegoss floating up could be a way to put cards back into our deck. And put additional bosses back into the deck, but like in a roundabout way. Alright, I guess we're floating up, boys. Floating away. Thirteen cards still in our deck. They have no dolls left. We still have 2 switches, I believe. Yep, 2 switches. Another boss, an Eldegoss. They have Mewtwo combo, which is 5 cards. They've been Belelbering once every time. I feel like this turn he Belelbers once and just goes for an Oranguru play. There's our second boss gone, by the way, but not a switch, which I think is a more important out for us. So I think he just Fluffy Pillows, gets a Guru down, puts back Surge, double Belelber. I don't know if you can do it all without the Zacian stuff. It's gonna be tight. Oh no, wait. I need to draw switch. I really need to draw switch, because if I play the Volkner, then he only needs 8, and that should be pretty easy for him. Rough times. It's been a super weird game. We've like front-loaded all of our luck with the coin flips. Didn't draw switch and didn't wake up, unfortunately. I think that should be everything. Like, he should be able to do the 8 card mill. Fire Energy. Mewtwo. And just 1 Belelber. Shouldn't be too difficult for him. Even if he doesn't, he could... So yeah, the Palpad and Tag Call player was pretty smart from him. So he can smooth over the Tag Call. Tag Call gets the double Belelber back. If they have Surge... Like, they don't even need the Surge Belelber, to be honest. They just need Mewtwo Fire. Depends if they have the Mewtwo stuff or not. Yeah, there's Mewtwo. Well played. Nice. We gave it our all. It was a very strange game, right? Because we tried our best to fill the deck, and ultimately we would have preferred to have, like... We would prefer to be on the board quicker with the PikaRom, rather than like waiting till turn 3 to attack. But I think overall we probably saved more turns by not going for that route. Eldegoss putting itself back into the deck is something that you really have to bear in mind as well for gaining cards. Or not only cards, but like Eldegoss is super good for Gust. So definitely something to bear in mind that Eldegoss can do that for you, which is cool. I think overall the matchup is a little bit better than previously. I think you would pretty much scoop to that almost every time. It's just weird that, like, I guess you could have, if we pretended that the switches in our deck were, like, milled rather than just, like, at the bottom, maybe it would have felt better, but, like... And yeah, the coin flips was pretty lucky in the opening, but it evened out as the course of the game went on, so... Yeah, that was PikaRom overall. Let me know what you guys thought. We had some interesting gameplay there, and the mill deck is obviously still a thing, even with boss's orders in the format, but it definitely brings it closer, right? We were, like, a card away from being able to win there. Possibly, like, 4 cards away from being able to win if they were able to surge double. So yeah, interesting stuff overall. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you in another Rebel Clash video tomorrow. Cheers.